Hi, I'm here today with a mortgage update on the dataadvocate.com with the mortgage guru, as far as I'm concerned, Michael F. White. He is the head coach and designer of Improve My Tomorrow coaching after 18 years in the Mortgage Plus business. Is it about 18 years, Michael?
Yeah,
I think he knows a little bit about
unfortunately.
I think he knows a little bit about mortgages, and he's here to give us on the Data Advocate what's going on in the mortgage industry, just to give us an update on a regular basis so we know what's going on out there. So welcome, Mike.
Well, Terry, thanks for having me. I'm always thrilled to be part of anything that you're part of.
Well, thank you so much. Well, the Data Advocate is here to share the right information, and we're not choice, but to be kind of a disbursement center for real information. And you and I just discussed a post that ICE.com made, and that is not the people that take people back to their own country. It stands for the International Exchange, and they have their own podcast, and they recently had one on the state of the mortgage industry. And you and I have been in the industry how many years? Like way too many, like 30, something like that.
40 something
We
ish.
started when we were children, but we've seen the mortgage market. We've seen it go up to 28%. We've seen it drop to 2%. Tell us what your take is on 2024 for mortgage this year.
Well, if again, big picture, you talked about the article, you talk about the industry, and the big piece of that we were just discussing is the fact that you've got to understand that the mortgage industry is called that. But then things get focused down, just like real estate, to what do things mean locally, right? What does that mean to my market? How does that mean to my state, my county, the properties that we deal in? Because and I know, whether in the mortgage industry specifically, right? Your individual location, your individual branch, your individual company, your individual state have all have rules. And then you have, like what this article goes into, is sort of like the big picture, the national umbrella under which all of these things kind of take place. And so and my favorite quote when people ask me this very question is, asking me how things are going in the mortgage industry is sort of like asking, what's the weather like in the United States today, right?
Great analogy.
You really, well, it's winter. So there's that, right? But then you can break it down into all sorts of different things. And hopefully, what you and I get to do is one of the things that I enjoy most about working with you on these things is helping people disseminate. What does this big picture have to do with me? What does it have to do with my market? What does it have to do with my customer? How do I take all of this and help all of us do better? Because like with rates, okay, well, where are rates today? Well, they're not 2, but they're also not 18. So on the spectrum of 40 years worth of mortgage data on a 30-year fixed rate loan, everything equal, you've got a low of 2.5, you've got a high of 18, and say we average it out to about 17, about 7.75, right? So if you really want to know where we are today, we're actually below average in interest rates. Now, if I said that unto itself, people would think, well, that guy's out of his mind. And well, that's certainly a point of debate that many people have had about me. The reality of it is, it's true. You can go and Google search 30-year fixed rate mortgage loan chart for the last 40 years, and you'll see that's kind of where we come down. Now, recently, yeah, 2 and 3 and 4% mortgages were only in the rearview mirror a couple of years. But it's only been a few weeks when we were 7 and 8. So we've eased down, and I expect, and again, presidential election year, so anything can happen. But I expect things are going to normalize in a lot of ways that are very technical, but in the big picture of things, they're gonna trend lower, probably slowly, more slowly than what a lot of people would like, and probably more slowly than a lot of people will go out there and predict. But when you think about all the different things that are going on, hey, you know what? We're seeing loans, and again, depending upon the customer, the type of loan, how much money, et cetera, we start using the word 6, to begin the conversation is better than using the words 7 and 8 in certain people's minds. And remember, we did a lot of business. People forget 2023 was about as bad a year as you could possibly wrap your mind around coming where we've been. And we're going to end up having sold somewhere between 5 and 6 million houses. We're going to look at people who said, we're not going to be able to do anything in the mortgage market or in real estate because nobody's going to move out or refinance a house that has a 2 or a 3% mortgage on it. Well, here's a news flash. Millions of people last year in 2023 either sold a house or refinanced a house with a 2, 3, or a 4% mortgage associated with it, because it's not just the mortgage rate that you're paying. It's the overall financial situation. And so when you see refis are actually climbing the last 4 months, refinances are actually getting steam. Why? Well, there was this nasty thing called student loan repayment that started taking place back in September, October. And so now what does that do? Well, those loans have to get paid. It impacts people's monthly budget. What's the monthly budget? Well, yeah, your mortgage and your taxes and your insurance, but your credit cards, your car loans. Hey, newsflash. How many people out there have car loans in excess of $500 a month, $1,000 a month? Okay, how many people have been using those credit cards to keep the economy going in their own situation, and they're paying 18, 20, 25% of those credit cards? So when somebody says, well, they're not going to refinance a 4% mortgage or a 3% mortgage, well, guess what? It's not about what the interest rate is, about what's your total monthly payment. And
you and I both know
reduce that total monthly payment by a few $100 or $500 or $1,000 or more, depending upon your circumstance. Those people don't care that you went from 3 to 8 or 3 to 7. They care that their total cash flow has improved. And those are the type of things I want to share with you and your audience and have these conversations, because, again, perspective is everything. And my grandfather once told me this story. Well, what does perspective mean? Well, you go to the circus, and there's a guy in a tuxedo and a top hat, and he's got a walking stick, and he's got a line, and as he walks, the elephant follows him. And all he has to do is touch the elephant by the trunk with the walking stick, and the elephant goes wherever he wants. And when the show is over, everybody cheers for the man and the elephant. But behind that elephant is a man in overalls, coveralls, doesn't look so good, with a shovel and a broom, cleaning up after the elephant as he walks off the stage. Both of those people work on the Elephant Act, but they have completely different sets of perspective.
That's really a brilliant opportunity for people to understand, because when we're in the business of helping people acquire real estate, that we know that it's the whole enchilada. I mean, it's what you're paying for outside of your basic living expenses. And so the interest rate, to me, having lived through double digits, shouldn't impact the way it should impact the way people need to be helped. I think that's the best way to put it, because if you haven't bought a property in the last 15 or 20 years, yeah, you think it's high. So we're going to need your expertise and your wisdom very often. So buckle up. We're going to want Michael White to comment on what's going on out there, because he is Mr. Mortgage, according to us. I'm Terry Murphy for the Data Advocate. Thanks so much for joining us, Michael. And I know you're going to join us again next week, if I can find you, to give us another update on what's happening in the mortgage world. Thanks for joining us.
Take care.